Virtual HYDLIDE. Virtual HYDLIDE. Virtual. Just show the game. I don't even know where to start. The title screen alone upsets me. Do you see what's upsetting about it? It's that little thing right there. Atlas? Freaking Atlas published this game? They put out some of the best obscure games of all time, and in what mindset did they think Virtual HYDLIDE would be a good one to add to their library? It's like knowing a gorgeous woman since childhood and you've always had a crush on her and admired her, and one day she says, "By the way, I once kicked a dog so hard, his head spun around like a rotor blade." The opening cutscene sets up the story of the game, and since it's on the Sega Saturn, it is legally obligated to have full motion video. A castle is attacked by a dark, mysterious figure. Recognize him? It's Viralis. You know, this guy, who is also this guy, and now he's here as this guy. Our FMV princess runs through the castle, and then Viralis and the princess explodes into fairies. Wait a second. It's a remake! Yes, Virtual HYDLIDE is an actual remake of the original HYDLIDE. It even says so in the manual. That means this game is about collecting 3 fairies to kill Viralis. The big thing Virtual HYDLIDE touts is that it's different every time you play it, because it uses randomly generated worlds, which on the back of a box sounds pretty dang impressive, but it's ultimately worthless, as I'll explain later. With the world generated, the game starts and oh good god! This is our hero? This plain looking, rag wearing, portly dude? He makes Jim the Knight look like a badass. And it's one thing to have FMV cutscenes, but to use a digitized actor as your hero, it just looks all kinds of awkward. None of the enemies are digitized, they're just sprites. Why use it for the main hero? Why not have consistency? You know what's fun? Fighting trees that can kill you in one hit. F*** you, nature. At least there are options in combat. You can weak swing, heavy swing, special swing, and block. You almost never need to block, and the special swing either does a slightly different swing or, for some swords, shoot projectiles. But with this perspective behind the character, I have no idea what I can hit. There's no perception of depth being conveyed. Times where I think I would hit just misses. Even the enemies have a hard time hitting me. Plus there are tons of times where in the middle of combat, I'm getting hit without realizing it because there's no indication of taking damage. Well, I mean, sometimes the hero bends over like he got punched in the dick, but other times he's unfazed. And with the jerky, awkward movements, it's hard to hit anything and feel like you're in control. Thankfully, fighting monsters is worthless. See, remember how the other HYDLIDEs padded itself by making you fight monsters to level up? Virtual HYDLIDE fixes that by having monsters give you nothing. You do not get experience points, ever. You only level up after completing certain objectives. So what's the purpose of having monsters in the overworld? There is none! They're only there to make you veer slightly off course while running around. On the overworld, you get a compass pointing you to your next destination automatically, even with an incomplete map. The entire game is avoiding monsters and running from location to location. So instead of exciting, engaging combat, you're an errand boy, running around. And this is what the randomly generated world changes. The dungeons are always the same, it's just the overworld and their locations. So all that's different is where to run to next, which is pointed out to you anyway. Did I mention the frame rate yet? Because, oh god, the frame rate! I have a smoother experience using an old Viewmaster toy. The first objective is to go to the cemetery. No idea why, it's just the goal. I did find some armor inside though, which is great. Like Super HYDLIDE, you can equip different... Son of a bitch. Well, at least I have plate armor now. Yep. Good. That doesn't look awkward at all. The problem with cursed items is that you can't remove it, so I'm constantly wearing heavy armor that takes up all my carrying weight. Yes, the weight system from Super HYDLIDE is back, and it's just as annoying here. The only things of note to get in the graveyard is the Amethyst Jewel, and you need to get the 3 jewels plus the 3 fairies in order to defeat Viralis. I also got a crucifix and a magic sword. It shoots 0 magic. While walking to the next place, I come across a scroll in the forest. Naturally, I use it. And then it tells me to pick something? Oh, okay. How about my magic sword? The checked item is a magic sword. Oh, okay. Thanks, game. Thanks for telling me what the item is after I use it. I get how this can make sense in your head, but that's just player hostile. Especially since there are other scrolls out there that'll ask you to select an item and then do something sucky. Like curse it. One simple change could make it so much better, instead of feeling like a jerk move. The next location is a mansion, and fighting in here sucks! It's one thing to have bad frame rate, but throw in tight corridors blended perfectly with bad camera angles, and you've got a recipe for I don't want to play this game anymore! Every room in this place is filled with that old recliner that my dad refuses to throw out. After having to touch 5 orbs, I have the first boss fight against a vampire. You can only hurt him with the crucifix equipped, and then he becomes incredibly easy. Just keep swinging away. He wants to teleport away, but he can't! Dad, he drops the magic lamp. You know, I really should find some fairies before I keep going. You can find the first fairy in a randomly placed forest inside a tree. You just touch one of the trees, but if you touch the wrong one, bees! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Portly guy of the night. Killed by bees. The next part is the trial dungeon. In this place, I found a dark sword. Its special attack shoots dark energy, and it hones in on targets. This makes fighting so much easier. I could never aim or hit before, but with this, the game does it for me. But there is a heavy cost to using the dark sword. With every shot, you lose points. It's like sacrificing a child with every swing. It's a good thing I don't care about kids. There isn't a boss in the trial dungeon. You just go through to the end to find a shield and a special tool, which is the Spectacles of Truth, which naturally is needed to get into the next dungeon. It kind of sounds more and more like a Zelda game at this point, doesn't it? Oh yeah, remember how everyone accused the original Hydlide of just being a ripoff of the original Legend of Zelda? Well, this one has a Master Sword. So, the Ruins is just a dumb time-wasting maze to find more treasures at the end. Specifically a fire protection amulet, a dragon shield, and fairy armor! Oh boy. You know, I was just thinking to myself, I sure hope I can get more ridiculous looking armor than this, and gosh darn it, Virtual Hydlide delivers! You know, maybe I've been too hard on the camera and the frame rate. I think I've gotten used to it. So really, once you've... Oh, okay, nope, never mind. This is bad. The inside of the volcano is made with lots of hills, which already has tight corridors, and you end up with this. The worst part is that there are small glowing spots on the floor that burn you to death. How am I supposed to not be on fire when I can't see where I'm going and trying to dodge at 4 frames per second? I found a diamond though, so that makes it all worth it. The boss in here is the Mad Dragon. This boss takes 3 times as long as all of the others because he has 3 heads, and each head has the full health meter of a normal boss. But killing him makes a flute drop from the sky. Just what I always wanted. By the way, I've died in this game as much as I did as the original Hydlide. I don't feel like I've shown that very well. So here's a montage of me dying a lot. Hey, look what I found! You know what this means. Whee! Minecart sequence! And somehow it works in both directions despite having a 15-foot jump. There's an evil mage at the end, and the most evil thing about him is that he wastes your time. He can only be hit when he lands on the ground, otherwise he's invulnerable. So basically, they took the P-hats from Zelda and made it into a boss fight. And that is the 3rd comparison I've made to The Legend of Zelda. Good! Quota met. His death awards me the Tears of the Earth and the 2nd Fairy. For the record, points do serve a purpose beyond a high score. You can spend them at a store for new equipment. But here's the thing. Everything that's in here you find out on the field for free in plentiful quantities. So unless you screw something up, like say turn your plate armor into an herb, you'll never need to come here. The Tears of the Earth is used at this ominous stone, which instantly makes this crystal palace appear. The inside looks more confusing than it actually is, you just gotta get to the center. And the center brings you down into a, oh, what is this? Seriously? Platforming? In a Hydlide game of all things? How am I supposed to know which one to get on with minimal draw distance? How am I supposed to time these steps when I'm going at 4 frames per second? Why does the map look like a Pac-Man maze? By the way, there are 2 levels of doing this. The bottom of this castle is a fight against a huge electric eel. And I died. It turns out you can only hurt him with a specific sword. Where is this sword? Why, randomly placed back inside the Pac-Man maze, of course. The light sword is a lot like the dark sword, only it shoots energy that don't cost points. And it murders eels. With the eel dead, the final fairy appears, and the 3 fairies come together and instantly whisk me away into the anus of Viralis' castle. And look, I have to fight the vampire again. Only this time he says something. And right after him is another fight against the time-wasting evil mage. Well, at least he was smart enough to bring 2 skeletons to waste more of my time. I'm guessing the developers realized halfway through this that fighting bosses again is a stupid idea, because the mad dragon and the eel don't even show up. It goes straight to Viralis, who is much smaller looking than ever before. You know, compared to this, or the opening sequence. Viralis isn't too tough to beat. The whole fight is pretty much me going pew 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 and he's all roar, but then I go pew pew and he dies. Viralis dissipates away and our hero stands in the only position that he knows. The fairies come together, bringing back the princess, and she is beautiful. Oh lord, she needs a hair straightener. The portly hero finds a penny on the floor and the castle disappears, revealing a gorgeous landscape. And the princess gets easily distracted by a bird flying by, but not before awkwardly looking into the camera. And then credits. Super brief credits. And that's it. But hey, I got a top score, so that's worth it. Is there nothing more to this? The final part of the Hydlide trilogy, and there's no big send-off? Oh wait, here it comes! My final rating for this game is a Hydlide out of 10. Seriously, what else can I compare it to? Virtual Hydlide takes its foundation on the already deeply flawed original Hydlide, and then further trivializes its gameplay by making combat worthless. The objectives are the same, and it wants its random worlds to add replayability when there's nothing worth going back for. It even copies the stand around for 10 minutes until you heal up mechanic. It's hard to say with the limitations of the Sega Saturn, but the game feels incomplete. Their ambitious ideas got in the way of creating something worthwhile. I guess they were just super proud of their world generator. It actually says here in the manual that there are over 40 billion possible world combinations, making it impossible to play this game twice. Well, they got that right. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you haven't seen them yet, be sure to check out the other Hydlide games on my channel, with Hydlide and the sequel Super Hydlide. And of course, if you like this video and want to see more of them in the future, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I mean, that lets me know that you like videos like this, and that would make me want to do them more. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep playing Pokemon, which, you know what, I'm okay with. Maybe I'll do both. As long as it's not Hydlide anymore.